everybody. This video is going to be filmed over several days, so it's going to be a little bit all over the place, but I've decided to do some cooking since we're all at home, and I know I get tired of eating the same things over and over. So I'm going to share some of my recipes with you guys. I think there's a new recipe I tried in here and it actually turned out really good. Today I'm making loaded potato soup, so we'll do that. I'm gonna try and go over like things that you could substitute, because I know the grocery stores are scarce right now with, you know, supplies and food and all that good stuff. So this is just some recipes that are very filling and perfect for the freezer. So that's what I've been focusing on here at our house. I'm trying to make things that make a lot of food with what ingredients we have, and they can just be thrown in the freezer. I'm actually missing an ingredient that I need for this potato soup, but I'm doing it anyways. It's still gonna taste good. So yeah, we're just making do with what we have. And we've only been going to the grocery store once every 2 weeks and getting our normal amount of stuff. And I'm making it a point to use everything that I have. So I've used up so much food, like I'm not throwing anything away. I'm freezing everything and just making it a point to make sure that none of our food goes bad. It's just a crazy time we're living in, and it just shows you like how grateful and how blessed we are, you know, to be able to have food, period. It brings a whole new meaning to God is great, God is good. Let us thank Him for this food. We're definitely way more aware to be praying for the food that we have. But anyways, I want this video to be fun and relaxing. I personally love watching cooking videos or Food Network, so hopefully this can be a little break for you all. And if you try these recipes and you want to like take a picture and send it to me on Instagram, I'll repost them in my stories. Let me know what you guys think. But let's go on and get started. Wash my veggies over here. I'm gonna use about 6 or 7 potatoes. These are the only carrots I have, but like I said, we're using what we've got. So I just try to pick out enough to make probably 1 whole carrot. I've got a couple sticks of celery in here, and then some green onion. I just had 2 green onions left, so we'll use those up. So these have all been washed. They're here in the sink. And then I'm also going to use diced up onion. Y'all know I keep my onion that I've already cut up in the freezer, so that's why it's in a little baggie. I'd say you need about 1/4 a cup of onion for this. And then we'll need some butter. Parsley is optional, and it makes it pretty. So if you don't have parsley, don't worry, you can still make this. You'll need about 2 cups of cheese. You could use cheddar, Colby Jack, whatever cheese that you like. Salt and pepper, sour cream, some milk, chicken broth, and garlic. If you don't have garlic, you can use garlic powder. And you could even do that for the onion. And then bacon. If you don't have real bacon, or you just want to make it a little easier on yourself, you can definitely use like the real bacon bits. I have bacon grease up here. We live in the country around here, so I keep bacon grease in a jar. And I've totally done this recipe with the bacon bits, just adding a little bit of this bacon grease just to make it, you know, more flavorful. So you could totally do that too. And then you'll need a little bit of flour. I don't know if I said that already. And I think that's everything. As far as like supplies or utensils or whatever, you'll need a large soup pot. Cortland just woke up from his nap and he's chasing Paisley around in his walker. So that's all the noise. Say hello. He's still kind of out of it from his nap, but You'll need a cutting board just to chop everything up, a knife, I recommend using one of these peelers. It just makes everything quicker and easier on you. And a spoon to mix everything up with, and I think that's it. So you can go on and start. Lord have mercy, my dog. Hey! Shh. You can go on and start boiling your water. I just have mine on medium-high heat. We're gonna boil all our veggies, and then I also preheated my oven to 350. I am actually gonna cook my bacon on a baking sheet just so it's really crispy and yummy. We just prefer our bacon in the oven, but you could definitely just use a skillet and fry it up that way, or like I said, you can use bacon bits. So I'm gonna go on and start peeling and chopping everything up. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm trying to do this on my Instagram stories and for you all here, so if I repeat some stuff, forgive me. But I usually don't put celery and carrots in this, but I need to use them before they go bad. So if you don't have celery or carrots, or you just don't like celery or carrots, you don't have to put them in this at all. You could definitely do it with just the potatoes, cheese, and bacon. You could leave out the onion if you're not an onion fan. So yeah, this is all about what you prefer, what you have on hand. And the best thing about cooking is you can make it your own and change things up, add stuff. If you do this recipe and you add a different ingredient, let me know so I can try it that way too. But let's go on and start peeling and chopping. Now I'm gonna add in about 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna mix this up and let all the veggies boil and cook until the potatoes are nice and tender, the carrots and everything. So you should be able to stick a fork or a toothpick through them, and they'll be like you could almost mash them, you know. So while that is cooking, I'm gonna go on and open my bacon and put it on the baking sheet and pop it in the oven. So I'm going on and laying out the bacon on our baking sheet. You don't have to spray this with cooking spray or anything because the bacon will make its own grease. So you just lay it right on the baking sheet and it'll get nice and crispy and delicious. And you don't have to make all the bacon. You can use about 4 to 6 slices of bacon to make enough bacon bits. But I'm gonna go on and make this whole package, and whatever's left over we'll have like for breakfast or make a BLT, but this isn't this isn't a whole lot of bacon. I'm gonna crumble it up and put it in the soup, and then we also put some on top when it's finished. So we'll just go on and make it all. And then I bake mine on 350 for about 20 minutes. You can tell when it's done. It'll be all crunchy and you know, it'll shrink. And this smells amazing. So I'm gonna wash my hands and put this in the oven. So I've got my bacon cooking in the oven and my veggies are cooking in here. I'm gonna go on and add in about half a teaspoon of black pepper and then a whole teaspoon of salt. And then if you're using garlic powder or onion powder, I would do that now too. You can use half a teaspoon to a whole teaspoon of each, just depending on how flavorful you want this to be. And we'll just mix this up. And they still need to cook a little bit longer, so we'll just let those season up in here. And once they're tender, we'll start adding the next ingredients. And I totally forgot, you want to mix in your parsley when you do your salt and pepper. So I'm just going to sprinkle in a good pinch of parsley in here. And then I'll put some on top when it's all finished too. A little bit more. I don't measure, I just kind of, you know, do a dash here and a pinch there. I just think that food turns out so much better when you don't measure and you just go follow your heart. So I'll try and link any recipes that I go off of. I always add things to everything just to make it my own, but I'll definitely add any links to Pinterest recipes that I was inspired by in the description box below. Okay, so you can see how everything is getting nice and thick and tender. So that's how you know your potatoes and all your veggies are cooked. So I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit, and I'm going to add in about 2.5 tablespoons of butter in here and some flour. And we'll go on and add in the chicken broth and the milk and all that stuff. But first, let's do our butter. So about 2 to 2.5 tablespoons of butter. Since it is called loaded baked potato soup, you have to have some butter in there. And now I'm going to sprinkle in about 1/4 a cup of flour and just do it gradually. Stir it all together, add a little more. This is going to help thicken everything up when we add in the chicken broth and the milk. Just repeat that until you've added a little less than 1/4 a cup of flour in here. So right now it looks like mashed potatoes with carrots and celery and all kinds of stuff in it. But it smells really good because of the garlic. I'm actually going to add a little bit of bacon grease from the bacon that's cooking. If you are using bacon mitts or you don't have bacon grease, don't worry about it. It's fine. The Pinterest recipe that I found, they did that, and it does add really good flavor. So I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of bacon grease. So I'm just gonna add in a teaspoon of bacon grease in here and mix that up. And now I'm gonna add 2 cups of chicken broth in here, and I add a little bit at a time. And just mix it all together. And then add a little bit more until I've added about 2 cups total. And then you just go in and add a little bit of milk, mix it up. You're going to do the same amount, so you want to end up with about 2 cups of milk in here. And you'll turn your heat up a little bit just to make it thicken up. So my bacon just came out of the oven. I'm letting it cool down a little bit, and then I'm gonna crumble up about 4 strips to put in the soup. Okay, and now I'm gonna do about a cup of sour cream in here to make it like a baked potato. All right, now I'm gonna add in, this is 2 cups of cheddar cheese. I'm gonna add in almost the whole bag, but I'm gonna leave just enough for us to have a couple of bowls so we can put some cheese on top for topping. So I'll just add a little bit of cheese, mix it up, add some more, will help thicken it up. And it makes it so yummy. Okay, now you just want to reduce the heat to low and let all your cheese melt, and just let this simmer for a little bit. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go in and chop up my green onion. Okay, so I just chopped up my green onion and some bacon. And then I'm going to go on and put this in a bowl, and then I'll show you how we put the topping on ours. Happy Saturday. I hope you all are having a good day and trying to stay positive out there. We're doing our part today, staying in and cooking with what we have here on hand. And I asked you guys on Instagram if you all would be interested in maybe seeing some cooking videos. So I've got all the ingredients over here behind me, and I'm going to start with something really easy. And most of this stuff you probably have already, and there are a few ingredients that are optional, and that's the great thing about cooking, is you can make it however you want. There's no specific rules really. So we'll start with baked spaghetti. It's yummy, it's filling, you can freeze this, it feeds a lot of people. So we'll start there, and I do have one audience member here. Blue is home, staying in the house with me, and Cortland's taking a nap, so you probably hear his little monitor in the background. But let's go on and get started. Okay, so these are the ingredients I'm going to be using today, and I'll tell you real quick which ones are optional. Obviously for baked spaghetti, you'll have to have some spaghetti, but you don't necessarily have to use spaghetti. You could use bow tie pasta, whatever kind of pasta you have will be fine. I use a little bit of butter. Parsley is optional. It mainly just makes it look pretty. Ground beef, if you don't like ground beef, you could probably use, I don't know if people substitute for ground turkey or chicken, or I guess like an Italian sausage would be good, but we like beef here, so that's what we're using. Onion you don't have to use, but it is definitely an option if you like it. It gives a good flavor. A little bit of garlic. You could substitute this for garlic powder or no garlic at all. This is just some spaghetti sauce I had here. Any spaghetti sauce is fine. And I'm using mozzarella cheese, cream cheese, and Parmesan. I've made this in the past with just mozzarella, so that's fine too. You could do a white cheddar cheese. I think we've even used like regular cheddar cheese before because we didn't have any like Italian cheese on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. You don't have to put in the cream cheese and you don't have to put in the butter. Those are just ingredients that I've added myself from making this over and over hundreds of times. My mom actually taught me this recipe, and she just did it with spaghetti, hamburger, sauce, and cheese. So that's definitely an option. I just like to make things my own and add a little bit of different stuff because I think it just makes it much more creamy and yummy. So, okay, so what you'll need as far as like cooking utensils and things go, you'll need a skillet to brown your beef or whatever meat you're using, and then, you know, a spatula or whatever you want to use to break it up, a pot of water. We'll need to drain your spaghetti after it's cooked or whatever pasta you're using, a casserole dish, it all depends on how big of a big spaghetti you're making, how many people you're trying to feed or freeze or whatever. So I'm just gonna do like a medium size since it's just myself and Blue and Courtland. So this one is just a medium sized casserole dish. And then a cutting board and a knife, only if you're using onion or, I mean, you could put pepper, tomatoes, mushroom, any veggies that you're gonna use. Obviously you'll need to cut those up. So that is everything. I've got it all gathered out here. Don't let this overwhelm you if you don't cook much. It's really easy, and I'll go step by step and show you how I do this. Okay, so I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees, and while that is preheating, I am boiling some water to cook the spaghetti in, and I'm gonna go on and chop up my onion. I'm only gonna use a little bit of this because Blue hates onion, but it does add good flavor, and since my pasta sauce is just a cheesy pasta sauce, I think adding a little bit of garlic and a little bit of onion will make it taste even better. So let's chop up this onion. So I just added my spaghetti into the boiling water. The oven just got finished preheating, so that is great. And then I went ahead and diced up about 1/4 of a cup of onion. And now I'm gonna go on and brown my ground beef. So I'm gonna put this on medium-high heat, put my hamburger in here, and then about halfway through cooking this, I am going to add the onion and about 2 cloves of garlic. Okay, so now we're cooking. I apologize if this video is a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to do this on my Instagram stories for you guys and YouTube. So if I'm repeating myself or skipped any steps, let me know and I'll try to help you. But I've got my pasta boiling here. I've chopped up a little bit of the onion, and now I'm just browning my hamburger meat. Once this is cooked about halfway through, I'm gonna go on and add in my onion and about 2 cloves of garlic. And I don't know if I said this to you all already, but I've got both of these burners on medium-high heat. Okay, so I just turned my spaghetti off. I'm actually using just a little bit of spaghetti that I had left over, and then the most of this is angel hair pasta, which is still spaghetti, but that's why it's so thin. If you need to know if yours is done, you can always do a little test, which is you take one piece of the spaghetti very carefully because it's gonna be hot, and like throw it on the wall. If it sticks to the wall, it's good to go. But I can just tell this is ready. So I've turned that burner off, and then my hamburger is almost done. So I am going to add in my onion and about 2 cloves of garlic. Okay, so I went ahead and added my garlic. I just did approximately 2 cloves. If you don't like garlic, I would do 1 clove or none, of course. And now I'm just putting in my onions, and I turned the heat on lower because this is almost done. So I'm sorry, this camera is all over the place, but I'm trying to do this with one hand, and I'm also trying to do this on 2 different platforms, whatever. So here we go. This is good. So I'm going to drain all the grease, and I'm also going to drain my spaghetti, and we'll be back. So I drained the grease, put the meat back in the skillet, and drain the water, and the pasta is back in the pan. What I'm gonna do now is open up my pasta sauce and add it to the meat, but we don't wanna add the whole jar. We're gonna leave about 1/4 cup in the jar, and I'll show you what to do with that. And then we're gonna go on and add a little bit of butter, and I'm using half a block of cream cheese. If you're doing a whole thing of spaghetti, I would use a whole block of cream cheese if you have it. If not, half a block is fine. Okay, so I've got about 2 tablespoons of butter in the pasta, and then half a block of cream cheese that is softened. If you are doing a whole box of spaghetti, I would do a whole block of cream cheese, but I've turned my heat back on low, and I'm going to mix this up until everything is melted and creamy, and then we'll be right back. Here's spaghetti to look like with the cream cheese and the butter. See how everything is getting nice and creamy. So I'm just gonna keep mixing this a little bit longer until that cream cheese is completely melted. And again, this is on low heat. And I had to call in my reinforcements because I cannot open this jar of spaghetti sauce. So hopefully Blue's muscles will save the day. Are you gonna watch the cooking show? So I've added the majority of my spaghetti sauce into the pan. I'm just gonna turn my heat on low and mix this together. And then you're gonna save about 1/4 of the sauce in the jar. And this would be a good time to add in your parsley, basil, any kind of Italian seasoning or herbs that you like. You can go in and add those in now. I do have some dried basil, I just remembered, so I'm gonna get that out of the cabinet and I'll add a little bit of that in here and some parsley. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of all my seasoning. I'm gonna add some parsley now, and then I'm gonna mix this up. And I'm gonna take this leftover spaghetti sauce and just pour it in my baking dish and just kind of scoot it around so it coats the entire bottom and even a little bit of the sides of the pan. And I went ahead and poured all the spaghetti in here, and I am just making sure it is evenly distributed in our little baking dish. And next we are gonna take our ground beef and sauce and layer it on top. Now, when I'm not filming a video and making this, I sometimes add cheese in here and just make it extra cheesy. You don't have to do that at all, and I'm not gonna do it this time, just to make it a little easier on myself. But you totally can if you like extra cheese. So I'm just gonna start layering. My audience members. So this is what it's looking like now. I do have a little bit of meat left over, but don't worry, I'll just boil up a little bit of angel hair pasta and we'll just have regular spaghetti for Cortland or myself. We will not waste this for sure. So I'm gonna go on and start adding my cheese. I'm using mozzarella and Parmesan. And you just literally sprinkle it all across the top, however much you like. And then we'll throw a little parsley on there to make it pretty. And we'll pop it in the oven just until the cheese melts and it is done. Got my mozzarella on here. I went ahead and put some parsley on top, and I forgot to put my Parmesan, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And then we'll put it in the oven and it'll get nice and cheesy. So it is in the oven. As soon as this cheese melts, it is done. This will take probably 10 minutes. But while that is cooking, I'm gonna make a Caesar salad because I've got the stuff to make it, so I'll show you all that. Okay, so I've got some leftover chopped up lettuce from last night. I'm gonna use bacon bits. I would fry up real bacon and crumble it, but I just don't feel like it. So we're gonna use these. Parmesan again, and some croutons. And then I have this, I keep this in the house. It is really good. So I'm gonna start with pouring some dressing in the bottom, pour some of this in the bottom. Bacon. And you don't have to put bacon in Caesar salad, but it's pretty good. Parmesan. Salt and pepper. We put this in everything. I feel like this is a given for pretty much any recipe. Croutons, and then we're gonna mix this up. Okay, so I did end up putting my oven on broil just to get it nice and browned. You don't have to do that, it's fine. You just leave it on 350 and just wait until the cheese melted, but I wanted to speed up the process a little bit just to show you all the finished result. So this is what it looks like, and I'm gonna plate up a little bit of this for Blue. This is what it looks like, serving it with our salad. You could do garlic bread. We are out of garlic bread, and I'm not gonna even try to go to the store anytime soon. I do have white bread and butter, and I could make it that way, but you all know how to do that. So I'm just gonna do salad with the baked spaghetti. All right, if you made it this far, I'm gonna go on and end the video now, and I will make a separate video with the other recipes I've filmed throughout the week. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope that you try them out. And I am praying for you guys. Bye.